Let's talk about what is the level of return that you make from an investment of a solar system in your house. The size of the system broadly depends on two factors. One is, what is your monthly electricity bill, sort of average in a year, because both your consumption pattern may vary by seasons, because if you're a heavy air conditioner user in the summer months, of course, when in the rainy months, the power consumption will go down. That's why you see a lot of blackout during the summer months, because more and more people turn on their air conditioner. So the consumption may be higher during the summer months. So just have to be careful and try and take a sort of an average consumption on a monthly basis covering all seasons. Then solar plant, of course, requires a certain amount of area. Every solar panel is about 20 square feet, right? You get about, let's say, 500 or 550 watt peak. So two panels, one panel is, let's say, 550 watt peak or 600 watt peak. Two panels will be 1000 or 1200 watts, and they'll consume about 40-50 square feet, plus the additional area, because you have to keep them at an incline facing the sun in a perpendicular direction. Also, you may have to run some cabling and all that. So we take about 60 square feet per kilowatt as a rule of thumb. But generally, in your terrace, we need area which will be shade free. You know, in the terraces in our building, we have overhead tank, or we have a neighboring tree. So whenever anything can cast a shadow, we try and avoid that, and we actually calculate the shadow during various seasons, because the direction of the sun also changes. So we calculate, we simulate, and we completely avoid having shade on our panels. Because I think maybe just for reference, I will say that shading on top of the panel or shade falling on top of the panel is a killer. It will reduce your energy generation, as well as you might affect the panel and the life of the panel by developing what is called as hotspots as well. So that is how you decide how much to size your solar plant based on those two factors. Once you've sized the solar plant and you're able to displace the consumption of electricity, let's say you use 1000 units of electricity or 1200 units of electricity in a month or an average. A 10 kilowatt system approximately will generate that much on a monthly basis. But a 10 kilowatt system requires approximately 600 square feet of completely shade-free area. Most people are also, they're rising or raising the solar system to over your head at about 8-9 feet, so that you get the space. In India, most of the terrace is reinforced concrete, and people want to use the terrace space for either a lounge, or they can keep their plants or do other things, right? You may want to dry your clothes. So in that case, you have to raise your solar system, which also means that some of the structures which cause a shade at the floor level may not cause a shade. So it might give you a higher capacity as well. But those are the competing criteria. One is the area available. Second is you may want to raise your height of the system. And then how much electricity are you consuming on an average across seasons. That determines the size of the system. And the price of the system, honestly speaking, varies a lot in the market. And that's the tricky part, and we'll have to have a separate discussion on why it varies. But let's just say that a 10 kilowatt system is 6 lakhs, just for discussion purposes, right? A 10 kilowatt system is 6 lakhs, and it may generate about 1000 units per month, right? And 1000 units per month is 12,000 units per year, right? And let's say your price of electricity is 10 rupees a unit of electricity. 12,000 units is 1.2 lakhs of electricity is generated from your solar plant. You know, your subsidy could be 1.2 lakhs or something like that. Let's say you have a solar plant which is about 4.8 lakhs post subsidy, and you are generating electricity worth 1.2 to 1.45 lakhs, in that range. So essentially, in about 3.5 years, you will get your investment paid back. I'll walk you through the calculation again. If the system cost is approximately 6 lakhs, let's say you get subsidy from the government of about 1.2 lakhs, so you're left with about 4.8 lakhs, and in the 4.8 lakhs, you are generating 1200 units per day from a 10 kilowatt system, which is in 12 months on an average, that may be 14,400 units, which is about 1.4 lakhs. So approximately in 3.5 years, you pay back that 4.8 lakhs. So let's say 3.5 years. Now you can also borrow money, right? So if you look at that return, of investment of about 4.8 lakhs, you have to remember, you pay back in about 3.5, but the life of the system is 30 years. So you get to enjoy the full free cash flow of about 1.3, 1.4 lakhs for the remaining 27, 30 years. The system is not going to die anytime soon. It is if you build it right and you work with the right vendors and they tell you why their quality will last, you will build a plant which will give you free cash for the next 25, 30 years after you've covered for your initial investment. But let's say you don't have 4.8 lakhs and you want to borrow money. You can get 80% of that. Let's say 3.5 lakhs or 3.6 lakhs can be financed with a bank. Every bank in the country is about to roll out a solar loan. This is going to become very, very prevalent. Every branch of every bank in the country is going to have a solar loan. So you get the 3.6 lakhs and you have to pay interest on it. You have to pay EMI, and the 3.6 lakh loan may be for 5 years, and you pay a 5-year EMI. Then your own investment may only be 1 or 1.2 lakhs. That is the point. Your 1.2 lakhs you may be able to recover in 2 years. So the returns are much, much higher. If you look at percentage terms, the solar returns, when you put full cash on a cash basis, can be as high as 20-25%. And in the case of levered, or when you borrow money or you take loan, it can be much higher. It can be anywhere from 50 to 75%. Now all of you know that there is no investment in India that will give you a return of 50-75%. Absolutely not. So it's not a scam. It is very much possible. It is, you can imagine that if you go to a bank and give your money to the bank probably gives you 6, 7, 8% return. You can put it in a fixed deposit and maybe get 10%. You can put it in mutual fund. They don't assure any return. There are market risks. And maybe a good mutual fund performs at about 14%. But which mutual fund will give you money of 20% unlevered or 50-75% over 30 years? And the risk you take is that the sun is going to be here to shine every single day, and the plant you've set up is based on good quality products and materials and good construction methods, good design methods, and good O&M practices. We will talk about it